Greetings fans, greetings YouTube, greetings to the world. So, about this video, the reasoning, the case for Torry Holt to make the Hall of Fame. Whether you want to call it first ballot or whether you think it should be second, third, but the reasoning that I think that he should be in relatively soon. The news just broke. Torry Holt, Isaac Bruce, Kurt Warner, Orlando Pace, all those big name Rams, and they're all eligible. They're all making it down the ranks to, semifinalists and this and that. And I got a pretty good feeling all of them should be in. All of them can be in. Torry Holt's the one that I'm a little worried about, and being how he's arguably my favorite player, probably my favorite player of all time, I think I was initially going to come on and give all his accolades and the reasoning why and all his records and his case, but you know what, instead of doing that, because I'm going to ramble on a million tangents about random games, random catches, I'm going to pass it off to my man Steve Savard, the Rams play-by-play commentator, because he can do this quick, precise, and get right to the point. So I'm going to pass it off to Savvy. Kick it.
As the 6th overall pick out of North Carolina State, much was expected of Torry Holt, and as you know, he delivered beyond the expectations. His impact on this football team was both immediate and dramatic, helping transform the Rams into Super Bowl champions. He set a Super Bowl rookie record for catches and receiving yards. The next year, in 2000, he led the NFL with a whopping 19.9 yards per catch average. And on a September afternoon at the Georgia Dome that year, he set a single game record, 63 yards per catch, 3 Kurt Warner passes, 3 Torry Holt touchdowns. The Falcons secondary was still chasing you as we got on the buses to head home to St. Louis that afternoon. In 2003, he led the NFL with 117 receptions, 1,696 yards. And he went on to set numerous career NFL records. Among them, Torry is the fastest in history to 10,000 receiving yards, fastest in history to 11,000 receiving yards. He's the only receiver in history to top 1,300 receiving yards in 6 consecutive seasons, the only receiver in history to total 90 or more catches in 6 consecutive seasons. He's one of just 2 men who have played this game at the professional level to total 1,600 yards receiving in 2 different campaigns. He led the NFL in receptions and yardage for an entire decade, 2000 to 2009. In fact, his 868 receptions that decade are more than any other player has totaled in any decade in NFL history. Ditto for his 12,594 yards, the most in any decade in NFL history. As you saw in the video, he played in 7 Pro Bowls. He missed just 2 games in 10 seasons in a Rams uniform. This despite knee injuries that required multiple surgeries. And I think that clearly speaks to his commitment to fitness and his dedication to his performance. He had a tireless work ethic. He sported a world-class pair of hands. He could turn defenders inside out with precise route running. And he also took with him onto the field a fearless approach to the game. There wasn't a route he wouldn't run. There wasn't a pass he couldn't catch or wouldn't catch. But in addition to being a great player, as most of you and all of you in this room know, Torry Holt was and is a class act. He represented himself, his family, his teammates, his coaches, and the entire Rams organization in a first-class manner 24/7.
Pretty cool, right? I'm pretty sure, most of you have no clue about that, about all those accolades, all those achievements, all those stats, all those records that Torry Holt put up, and that's fine. That's the point of these kind of videos. And I'm hoping some of the Hall of Fame voters, because I don't know how clueless they can be, but 2.5 minutes, that's all it takes. You give Steve Savard, hell, you give me 2.5 minutes in front of the Hall of Fame voters, and I'll sell them on Torry Big Game Holt in a flash, because you can't deny what this guy has done. And granted, it was in a shorter period of time because of his knee injuries. But still, the things he was able to put up in his career was just spectacular. And it's not the time to think about what ifs, but really, if he would have had a 15 to 16 year career, he would have been right behind Jerry Rice in yards and receptions, no doubt about it. There was a time where Torry Holt was NFL leading in history in yards per game per receiver averaged. I mean, and he's still among the tops in that, as his career dwindled down. But at the same time, it's just amazing career he had. The work ethic was insane. He was a role model. He was not one of these, diva receivers. He had a little swagger to him, but he was a role model on and off the field. He has the Super Bowl ring. He has the contributions to the Super Bowl. You heard everything Steve Savard said. And Torry, if you're watching this, if this was a first ballot and I had the vote, you would have my vote. Unfortunately, I'm not making the votes here. But I think Torry Holt deserves to be in a relatively short amount of time. And I don't know if I'm gonna make a video about other guys like Bruce and Warner and Pace. I have great respect for all of them, great respect. But I'm a little slightly worried that Torry's gonna be left out. I feel like those guys will be in there relatively soon. I think Torry deserves to be in relatively soon. But the respect, or should I say lack of respect, that I've seen that he's had among the elite company of receivers over the years, I hope that doesn't catch up with him, because he deserves to be among those elite guys, those Randy Mosses, those Marvin Harrisons, those Chris Carters, all of them. And you heard them mention most receiving yards by any receiver in a single decade, and receptions. And guess what? That's a decade dominated by Randy Mosses, by Terrell Owens, by the Marvin Harrisons who are coming up. So I'm not here to say Torry's better than those guys. I'm here to say you put him next to them, and he's gonna at least match them. And that's all Torry wanted to do: match the next guy or be better than the next guy. And that's the mentality he took on the field. And it's just I feel like he definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and definitely deserves to be relatively soon. And we're gonna find out, in a couple months. But for now, signing off. I hope you enjoyed that little spiel by Steve Savard and my BS, but I feel like Torry Holt needs to be recognized a little more, and the time's coming for it to be. So, peace.